Okay, in this video we're going to show you how to create your left-hand banner here for your Facebook fan page. And so we're going to do that using our new online image editor within our membership area. So go ahead and open up the image editor in the Riffers Marketing membership area, and then we're going to go ahead and start with one of the new templates that we have created for you to use. And in this case I'm going to use this template right here, this red with a little bit of white here at the top. So we'll open up that template there, and it's already sized to the maximum size that we can use on that Facebook page area there. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is add a logo. So in this case we're going to create this one. This is kind of a special request here, so we're going to open our logo, and so you go up here to File, Open Image, and then find your logo wherever that may be on your hard drive. So we're going to go ahead and select this Conklin Roofing Systems logo here. And now our logo is opened up. And what we're going to do is go ahead and click over here on background and just drag that over onto our image here. And then you can see now we have this logo loaded into our Facebook template here, and we're going to go ahead and close that back up. Now we have two layers here. We have our background layer, and then we have what they've called background copy, and we're going to double click on those words right there, and we're going to rename this logo. Okay, so now our logo obviously isn't fitting in here just right, so we're going to need to resize this logo a bit. So what we're going to do is go up here and go to Edit, Free Transform, and then that puts these little handles here that we can click and drag to resize it. Now remember, when you're resizing something like your logo, you want to hold down the Shift key as you do that, because that makes it stay in perspective as you resize it. If you do not hold the Shift key down, you can see then the logo can get all distorted. So hold the Shift key down whenever you're resizing that image, and that will allow you to resize that in the right perspective. So we're going to resize that, and let's see, is that about the right size for us? That looks pretty good, so we'll go ahead and place this right up here, and then we will just double click on that to accept the resizing. Do you want to apply the changes? Yes, we do. Okay, so now we've already just dropped our logo right here into the top, and we could just use it like that if we wanted to. But actually we're going to do a couple other quick things here. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that the red here in our default background image really matches up with the logo red. It looks to me like they're just off a little bit. So I'm going to drag this red down in here until I get to an area that's pretty close, and you can see it's almost matching up there, but not quite. So I'm going to select the background image, and I'm going to go to Adjustment, Hue and Saturation, and now in here I can make some changes to this background. We can adjust the color of the background to match almost any logo that you might have or want to use it with, but in this case I'm going to try to match it up with this logo here. So I am going to just adjust it a little bit to the yellow side there, and I'm going to desaturate that logo just a little. Let's see here. Alright, now you can see that they're almost blending together perfectly there, those reds. So now I'm going to select the logo layer and move it back up here to this white background area. Now the next thing that I would like to do is to put a QR code here that will link to the website. So we'll jump over here to the membership area and to the QR code generator. Okay, and if it's your first time creating a QR code, you can watch the QR code video there, but in this case what we're going to do is create a link, a QR code that links to the website. So that would be a URL QR code, and the URL that we want is to link to this website right here. So I'm going to just grab that website address and I'm going to paste it right here. Now I'm going to click Next. Okay, now I need to decide the colors that I want that's going to work well down here with this. So it looks to me like a red and a black QR code might look good, or maybe a white QR code would look well there. So I think what I'm going to do is just stick with the standard white and black QR code and see how that works. And we're going to select a small, I'm going to create the QR code, and I'm going to click here to download that. Okay, so now I'm going to bring that QR code in here. So we're going to go back and go File, Open Image, and there's the QR code that we created. I'm going to click Open. And now it puts by default a pretty big border around this. So if we were to actually take this image and drag it on here, we can see that it's got way too much white space around it to look good in our image. So before we drag that in here, what we're going to do is we're going to take this QR code and we're going to select this crop tool right here. And I'm going to just come and crop it nice and tight to that QR code. And you want to leave a little bit of white border around there because that helps the reader to read that QR code. So we're going to leave a nice little border around it. And then we are going to click outside there and it'll ask us if we want that cropped, and we're going to say yes. Now we can see that we have this cropped down nice and neat here. So now when we select this background layer and we drag it onto our image, we'll go back to our select tool here. We can see that now we have a nice, neat, clean QR code there. So we'll go ahead and close this down. And do we want to save it? No. Okay, now just for the sake of keeping it organized here, I'm going to double click on this layer and rename this QR code. Okay. And now the QR code is a little bit bigger than I want it to be, so I'm going to go ahead and resize this down a little bit here. So we're going to go to Edit, Free Transform, and then I'm going to hold down that Shift key again and pull this in smaller to make that a little bit smaller here. And I think about that looks good. Click outside here, asks us if we want to apply it. Yes. Okay, and then I'm just going to move this right about there for now. That looks good. Okay, now we have some other images that we might want to bring in, or some text. So if we go back to the website and let's check out the contact us information here, I'm going to actually just click and highlight this right here and then right click on it. Oop, and it's not going to let me copy, so I have to use the keyboard. I'm going to do Control C. Then I'm going to come back to the image editor and select the text here, text tool. And I'm going to draw, just click there, and then that opens the text box, and I'm going to hit Control V, which pastes that text in there. Okay, now that text is a little bit bigger than obviously I would like, so I'm going to grab the size slider and reduce that down a little bit. Okay. And let's see, let's go ahead and move this down a little. Now we can see that the email is not fitting right here, so we can do a couple different things here. A lot of people will recognize that as an email address, so what I might do in this case is just take out the word email, delete that there, and select OK, and now we can see that that's actually fitting a lot better. And people will know that that is an email address there. All right. So now we can experiment a little bit. We can try maybe putting this down here at the bottom and grabbing our QR code layer and moving that up and seeing if we like how that looks better, which I'm not really liking that better. So I'm going to go ahead and put the QR code back down here. I'm going to grab this text and move it back up here for now. Okay, now we're going to drop a couple images in here. So we've got our contact information, we've created a QR code, we've put our logo in. Now we're going to go ahead and File, Open Image, and we're going to take one of these pictures here. And first we'll start with that one, top coat. And so we're going to grab the background layer of that image and drag it over here onto our Facebook profile, but that's obviously a little bit too large. So again, we're going to go to Edit, Free Transform. I'm going to hold down that Shift button and I'm going to make that picture just a little smaller, about like that. Alright, and I'm going to close that. Then I'm going to open up another one here, so File, Open, and I'm going to grab this rooftop one here. And now I'm going to grab that and drag it onto my Facebook page here and close the original. And again, this one is larger than I want as well, so I'm going to do that edit, free transform, hold down my shift key and resize that image a little as well. Now what's great about the layers of this program is here I can move this and you can see how that's on the top of that image right there. But if I wanted this picture here to be on top of this one, I can just drag this underneath here, and now you'll notice that it's underneath that. So maybe in this case what we might do is overlap these images just a little bit. And these layer orders allow you to do that, and that's why it's nice to name your layers as well. So this one I'm going to name building, and this one I'm going to name roof. And now I can kind of know what I'm working with here in my layers. All right. And let's see if we got another image that we can use here. We'll go File, Open. Here we've got an ease of training. We'll go ahead and open that image up. And we'll drop this one in here. Okay, and again, this one's bigger than I want, so I'm going to go Edit, Free Transform, and hold down my Shift key as I resize that one a little bit. Okay, and we'll go ahead and do that. So now we're starting to put together kind of a collage of pictures here, and you can adjust the placement of those. And then what's nice too is you can actually come in here and we can add some effects to those images. So let's say we want to maybe put a drop shadow on these images. So let's come and select a drop shadow here for that. And as you can see, the default drop shadow is a very hard shadow, and that's not what we want. So what we're going to do is increase the size of that shadow, which actually makes it blur a little bit there, as you can see. And I'm going to reduce the distance a little bit. And then we can experiment with some other things as well. We have an inner shadow that we can do. We have a bevel, an outer glow, and an inner glow. Now an inner glow might look interesting here if it was a lighter color, so I'm going to go pick like a yellow and see if that's doing anything for us. Not too much there on that one. So I'm going to just go ahead and cancel that. So again, let's go ahead and put that shadow on there, the drop shadow, and I'm going to reduce that size down, or distance, and increase the size. Click OK. And then I'm going to do the same thing on these as here as well. I'm going to add the drop shadow, and I'm going to reduce the distance and increase the size just to match the others there. And I'm going to do that on the roof layer as well. Reduce that down and increase the size. So now we're starting to get kind of a nice layout here, and you can kind of decide how you like them to look. I think in this particular case, I'm going to maybe arrange this just a little bit differently. Might move this over here. Let's try moving this one over here, and maybe taking the building over here and down a little. And let's try moving. Okay, now in this image, the building with the white here, I liked that when this was over more in this dark area. So what I'm going to do in this particular case with this building image is I'm actually going to come up to layer when I have that building layer selected, and I'm going to select layer, flip layer horizontal, and you can see that that actually flipped the image. And so now it's this white part of the building is not being covered by this image here. So let's see if I like that a little better. Alright, good. So now we have kind of a nice little package coming together here. Now we can come down here and we could actually experiment with some effects on the text as well. If we wanted to do a drop shadow, we could experiment a little bit with that. That might make it a little more readable. on that background, make it stand out a little bit. You can kind of see the difference there. So we'll go ahead and leave a small amount of drop shadow on there just to kind of help that stand out a little bit. Click OK. And let's see. Overall, that's looking pretty good. I think I might take these and move them down just a little bit. Just to kind of spread it out a little bit better there in the middle. Alright, so once you have it the way you like it, now we're going to do File, Save, and you're going to want to save this as a JPEG image. And what's going to happen is Facebook is going to compress this image once you upload it. So I'm going to go ahead and move this slider all the way to 100%. That's going to give me the highest quality image that this can output, and then Facebook can compress it from there. So we're going to click OK. Then we're going to name this Conklin Facebook banner and click Save. Alright, and so now what we can do is actually open up and take a look. Okay, now sometimes what I have noticed has happened is you'll get this as a result of your output there, and it won't be an image that you can open. And what has happened is it hasn't added the extension. In this case it was a JPEG. So all you need to do to fix that is just double click on the name here, as if you're going to rename this folder. You could also do right click, Properties, and then right here in the name, and just type .jpg to make that a JPEG, and then click OK, and then you'll see that then now that shows up as an image. That doesn't always happen, but sometimes that does happen, so just be aware of that. Don't panic. So now there's our completed image that we'll be able to upload to Facebook on that left hand side.